So I wanted to just do a quick stream. This is just game development stuff. I love game development. I love art. I love nature specifically, and I love drawing nature. I love walking through the wood forests and I love MMOs. I love MMORPGs. And there's you know we talk about Pantheon Rise of Fall, and I had a few streams on Pantheon. I know I've been very negative on Pantheon, but it's funny that I'm negative. I'm only negative on the art of Pantheon. I just think the art could, and the only reason I'm negative is because I don't want to give my honest opinion. I think so often we see people reviewing games, and let's put some music in the background. It seems really, really quiet. Um, we see people that are MMO, players, players of MMOs and fans and gamers, and we see them watch videos on, dev streams and content creation for MMOs and other RPGs and fantasy style games, and they're always so kind and friendly, and oh, this looks great, and oh my God, it's beautiful, and it's gorgeous, and blah 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 blah. But a lot of times I feel like it's just, it's like the rose tinted glasses. You're so excited to see something new come out, and you're so like, oh, this is, it's new. You're excited. It's kind of like the game maker has won you over before really doing before he's even shown you anything, just because you are so ready to play a new MMO that you want to play, that you want to enjoy. And I think there's so many of us like me that are ready for a new, adventure, new MMO that's very exciting and challenging. But unlike other players, I am extremely honest with my opinion, and I will be very honest with brutally honest with my opinion. So when I do my videos on Pantheon, I'm very honest. I say if I think the graphics are shit, I'll say they're shit. If I think the art assets aren't that great, I'll say the art assets are that great. If I think they're taking too long to make the game because they don't have the technical know-how, I'll say that, even though could be 100% wrong, because keep in mind, this is always just opinion. But I was talking in my last stream on Pantheon. I had mentioned a couple different things about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen that I was kind of being, negative on. And if we go to my channel and you guys haven't watched that video on Pantheon, you just have to go to my videos here, go through it. I think it's right here. And what we were talking about, and I want to show you, if I can find it really quickly. Actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't this Pantheon video, it was the previous one, the one before that one, this one. Okay. They were talking about the different armors and the art assets and stuff like that. I think at some point in time we're going to get to, they're showing shields and weapons, and we got to this point in the stream, and we were talking about kind of like, this is, I guess, some of the level design artwork, and I was very critical of this because I said, this is very simplistic stuff. This is, these textures are extremely, these to me are just like tileable. They're not even very complicated textures. A lot of these textures you can get for free right off the Unreal Store. If you guys don't know, you can go into, Epic Games. All you have to do is go into the Epic Games launcher, and if you go to the store, you can actually find all kinds of free assets. Like if we go here, we say browse, and let's go to the library. Let's go Unreal Engine, and let's go Marketplace. And we can go here and we can actually say free Epic Games, or not Epic Games content, just say free, I don't know, free for the month. There's always going to be like all kinds of free assets. Like right here, there's a beautiful, and I actually already own this, but this is free. And, this contains materials, stones, grasses, bush, some snowflake particle system. And you can see some screenshots here where they're showing you, some level design here that they've created with this asset pack. And this is entirely free. And so don't be so quick to just look at people's so-called progress on MMOs and be like, ooh, this is like amazing. I'm very critical of game makers because it doesn't take... hey, Christian, no, I don't do a lot of Unreal development. So I'm not doing any Unreal development at the moment. But I am very knowledgeable in game development. Well, not necessarily game development even. I'm a programmer, software developer, but I'm fairly knowledgeable in kind of the, kind of how to create, textures and how to create models. I've done animation. I've done very little animation. But I've done character modeling. I've done, texture creation. I've done some level designs, but I've done stuff in Blender. I've done some in Stratus Studio Pro. I even used uh, 3D Studio Max back in the day, but I haven't done anything in the past like 5 or 10 years. I mostly just play games. But the point of this video is what I was trying to say is when we looked at Pantheon Rise of the Fallen and they were showing stuff like this doesn't really impress me in any way, and it doesn't really, I'm not really sure why they show this because, hey, what's up, Bobby? I'm not really sure why they even show something like this. I mean, what is the point of showing, some of these, like something like this? I know these are levels they're working on. Are you a web developer? That's cool. I'm a software developer. I write mostly JavaScript, and I don't do PHP. I do mostly JavaScript. We do, jQuery, Ajax, and stuff. And today I was writing some stuff in, C# and writing delegates and promises in JavaScript and mostly a website development, really. I don't use Vue.js, but I've used a lot of different, JavaScript libraries. I'm not a big fan of JavaScript, to be honest. I'm 51 years old, and since I've been coding since I was about, I don't know, 15 or 16 years old. And so I grew up, coding in languages that were, yeah, actually, yeah, but we use jQuery a lot. We use jQuery a lot. It is old school. I'm gonna tell my boss you said that. We're thinking about going to, we're actually looking at, I really hope that WebAssembly works out for us, because if I can get to the point where I can just write everything in C#, man, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy if I could just write it all in C# and let WebAssembly like compile it to whatever we need, right? But we use, well, we're actually kicking around the idea, of, hold on a second. We're kicking around the idea of going to Blazor. We might be doing some Blazor stuff, some Blazor with, I don't think we're going to do Blazor with WebAssembly, but maybe do Blazor with some other technologies. Every project's on Docker and PHP 8. Yeah, well, there's a developer on my team who'd be very happy to hear you say PHP. So I'm not gonna lie. Actually, my boss is writing in chat right now. I wonder if he's watching my stream, because he knows I'm on my lunch break. A lot of times I stream on my lunch break. But anyways, that's kind of off topic. It's not really what this video is about. Actually, I'm looking at my work computer right now. 1 second. I'm going to check on that. If that fails, then I'll start queuing these tickets. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Docker's something we're looking at. My boss's team use Docker a lot. PHP I'm not a huge fan of, but I don't really dislike. It's probably better than JavaScript, but honestly I haven't done a lot of stuff in PHP. I did some PHP nuke like a long time ago when I was still in high school, probably, to be honest. But anyway, so back to the topic of this video. Really, when I was looking at this Pantheon stream, the Rise of the Fallen reaction, I was doing a reaction to the Forging Terminus live stream, where they were going through and they were showing a lot of their art assets. They were showing the different weapons and stuff that they were developing, some of the character models, the improvement. We're going to the high definition pipeline, render pipeline in Unity, right? Because they work very closely with Unity in development, which I was shocked that they went with Unity, to be honest, because I think Unreal's a far superior game engine. But that's a topic for another story, a topic for another video probably. But when we got, and I was really bashing their armor models, and just. But really, and I love the Pantheon as far as like I think Pantheons could be a really, really great MMO. In fact, I've donated, I've pitched in $500, pledge to Pantheon. So obviously, I feel like, I don't pledge a lot of money to video games. So the fact that I even pledge that much to this shows you that I have a lot of interest in this game, and I do believe that it could be. I'm not gonna say it will. It could be a really good game, but the one part of the game that I really dislike is the art style. And the art assets that I've seen so far from Visionary Realms, it's just, to me, it's subpar. It's very subpar. It's not, I know they're a small company, I know they're an indie company, but even an indie company, and like, just to show you as an example, like, here's something that Tobias, Kep did as an environment. He did this in school as a school project. He spent about 8 months, developing this. And what's impressive about Tobias's work here is that he pretty much created all the textures, all the assets. He did it all himself. It wasn't like he used any like it's not like he got assets off the store, you know what I mean, or got textures off the store or anything, or used Megascans, or, or even if we went like Quixel Bridge here, and I'm pretty sure I've got Quixel Bridge, which is awesome, by the way. Quixel Bridge is fantastic if you're using Unreal Engine. It's so amazing. Unreal got the Megascans library, I mean, I can go into Quixel and I've got all these art assets that I can use in my projects within Unreal. I mean, there's no reason you can't take the Unreal Game Engine. And I don't know how the licensing, I know licensing with Unreal Game Engine, once you make, I believe it's $100,000. Up until like $100,000 that you make off your game, you don't pay them a cent. You don't pay them anything. You don't pay them anything. But once you get to the point where you make like $100,000, I think then it's maybe 10%. Which a lot of people are like, oh my God, 10%. I'm like, yeah, 10% of $100,000, right? And just think of the power that comes with Unreal Engine. Everything that you can do in Unreal Engine is so, there's so much in the engine. And it's very, and the fact that they've made so much money off Fortnite means they're going to continue developing the engine. It's going to continue to get better. And with Unreal Engine 5, I think we can all see that that's definitely the case. But in here, we can easily export these art assets right up from Quixel right into my Unreal Engine project. So it's very simple, very very easy to use, and there's a huge amount of tools available to you with Unreal. So what I'm saying is, when I see stuff like Pantheon, where they're going in and they're showing me, level designs like this, I'm not impressed at all. I'm like, I don't even know why you're showing. To me, showing me this is almost a negative black mark against your company because of how rudimentary this is, and any kind of a decent level design person could create something like this incredibly quickly. I mean, incredibly quickly. The only way this would take long is if they had to create the textures and everything by hand. If they were doing all this by hand, for whatever reason, they created these rock pillar in the background by hand. They took a square and went into a modeler and actually cut at it and cut away and shaped this. And even then you wouldn't do that. You don't really do old school like polygonal shaping like that anymore. If you'd probably be sculpting at that point. You'd rather just go into like a sculpting tool and sculpt it out. It'd be much easier and much faster. But you mean vanilla PHP is so AIDS, but Laravel Symfony is so good for modern standards. I haven't looked at Laravel and Symfony, but I definitely will take a look at it. I mean, whenever someone mentions stuff, I'll definitely look at it and read up on it a little bit. Yeah, I mean, really, something like this you could make up in a couple hours if you had any kind of experience with your tool. You know what I mean? I don't know. Well, they showed this, and I'm not really sure why they were showing this. From what I've seen so far, is there's a heavy use of rock. But anyways, it's just
kit like we've developed for Wild's End and use it in many different places. So it's really good for our kind of our overall
Rapid
speed
design.
and process.
Rapid design.
But
So he was talking about some rock kits they designed, which like reusable assets. So maybe this was something they just whipped up this could have just been something they whipped up to present in this particular stream. And in that case, that's fine, And they may be not wanting to show actual, in-game footage because they don't want people to see it yet. They're not ready for people to see, their in-game stuff. So this could have just been something said, well, this is some rock kit that we created, asset pack. And we threw this together real quick just to show people some of the types of rocks and terrain we can create with this rock pack. But it wasn't very explicit. But I can tell you that this is some of the stuff they were demoing as far as the character armor, which again I think is really, for a game coming out in which we won't even see this game to 2023 or 2024. I'm gonna think 2024 before this game even gets out. Is in my mind isn't that great. But what I want to say is, here's something that a college student. Now Tobias did this, I think, when he was in college. I think as a school project. He did this in about 8 months. Okay. What's good about this is it's very stylized, which is fine. But what's good about this is he created all the textures and all the art assets and all the models, himself. Obviously, you can see he used a very modular approach, which is what you're supposed to do. And what I mean by modular approach is you're going to see some awnings and some windows and some objects that are just replicated. Like this is the same as this roof here. I mean, a lot of the roofs on these buildings are going to look very similar because they're just modular things, assets that he's created that are just interchangeable pieces like Legos, right? Which is kind of what you're supposed to do. A lot of the trees are going to be very similar, but a lot of them are very different, and he had to go in and probably by hand, change some of these up. You can see, like, for example, this tree right here is pretty much the same as this tree right here. This tree here is probably the same as this one. This tree here is the same as this one. But again, that's to be expected. But you see all the terrains, the road, the bark, everything he did by hand. He painted by hand. But I mean, this is something that's pretty good for someone. Someone did this by themselves, in 8 months. Okay, so and the reason I say it's good is because of all the customization he had to do by hand. Then you look at my friend Evil Mr. Frank, which is one of my favorite level designers, and I love this guy. This guy does a lot of Unreal Engine level designs, and he actually works on Fortnite. I actually know he doesn't work on Fortnite. I'm sorry, Tobias. This guy works on Fortnite levels. This guy has done lots of different types of game development stuff, but he does speed level designs, and I believe he also lists how long it takes for him to create the levels. This took him less than 3 hours. Okay, so this guy developed this level in less than 3 hours, which is good, right? I mean, he obviously knows the Unreal Engine tool. He's very good at mocking out levels. So when I was talking about that other video in one of my streams that I'd done, I was trying to pull this guy's video up, but I couldn't remember his channel. But my point being that Pantheon Rise of the Fallen looks from a conceptual point of view of like how they want the game to work. It's going to be really good because we want a challenging community-based MMO, and a challenging community-based MMO doesn't really rely on art, and it doesn't have to have like the most amazing art. I mean, it can be stick figures, right? But when a game that's coming out in 2022, 2023, or 2024, we expect it to have some degree of quality, right? As far as like what it's going to look like. And this game's been in development since 2014, although they like to say they rebooted in 2016 or 2017. I think even 2017 they say they rebooted, where they like kind of started over, kind of, which to me was a big red flag against the company to begin with. How could you work on a game for 3 years and say, we're just going to start over? That shows some really poor planning and management. But if we say they started at 2017, it's currently 2022, so you're still talking of 5 years development, right? So now you're looking at a level that this guy did in less than 3 hours, right? And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's fantastic. This is a beautiful level. It's very well done. It's very believable. I love it. If I'm in an MMO and I walked through to a lake and I saw this little house there and I saw these beautiful mountains with some nice, some fog systems built in, beautiful skybox, some nice particle effects with the lightning bugs, I'd be very happy. I'd be like, wow, this is beautiful. You know what I mean? And if you look at Evil Mr. Frank's channel, he's got lots of other level designs he's done. That's one of my favorite ones. But he's done lots of them. A lot of these I haven't even looked at yet. And you keep in mind, most of these are Unreal Engine 4, so it'd be interesting to see, because he hasn't switched to Unreal Engine 5 yet. It looks like it'd be interesting to see what he comes up with Unreal Engine 5. You can see here, this was his official work. This was some official artwork. It looks like he did on Ark Survival, which you guys know the game probably, Ark Survival. So, just some more stuff that he did as a level designer. This is another video I found, and this actually, I believe this is this little fan project he worked on last month with Megascans in it. So this guy put this together it sounds like he did it in a month in Unreal Engine 4. Let's take a look. And this is Asia Mist Isle done in Unreal Engine 4. Asia Mist Isle from World of Warcraft. My point is that you can do really great work very quickly as far as mocking out levels in Unreal Engine. And they're using Unity, but Unity's good too. I mean, it can be good, but I'm just a little surprised by what I've seen from Pantheon as far as like the fidelity and the detail and the ambience of what they've shown us. Now, they may be holding back a bunch of stuff. I love what he's done here with Asia Mist Isle, by the way. But I'm just not very impressed. That's about the only way I could put it. I'm just not impressed with where the art and the levels are coming from, But yeah. But what assets do I use mainly? I can tell you that I haven't done a lot with Unreal Engine 5 yet. But when it's something I want to spend more time on when I retire, to be honest. I'm 51. And when I retire from work, what I want to do is work on my own video game. And I plan on spending more time doing game development. So it's just hard to do this stuff when you work, when you write code all day, every day, and then you get off job. And I'm married, and I get off work, and it's tough to come home and start learning all these tools and doing all this stuff in my spare time because my wife wants me to spend time with her. So it's a balancing act. So. You can see how much the music adds to the ambiance of a level. It makes a big difference. And there's some other really good ones out there. If you look at Saiku, I think it's Saiku if I spelled it right. This guy does quite a bit of, quite a few Unreal Engine levels, and he does some really nice stuff. Also, there was something else I wanted to show, and it was this. So this is Marco De Luca, and what you're looking at here is actually a fake face. This is not a real human face right here. And this is probably about the most realistic looking fake human face I have ever seen. And it's really hard to tell. One way I can tell that I'm trying to figure out what ways tip it off that it's fake. One way I can tell is the way the eyebrow moved up. It was too much altogether. Watch the eyebrow, right? There. How those eyebrows moved up together. It was too like all in sync. Like it was all perfectly moving up at exactly the same amount. Like people's eyebrows don't usually move that much in sync together like that. So that was a little bit of a tip off. This isn't real. You can see here, the eyelid wouldn't probably be curved like this. There's also a little bit of variation here, which looks a little odd to me. Yeah, how those eyebrows moved up was a little. Other than the skin looks really realistic. The skin looks really. The eyebrows look really good. Here they look a little fake right in here. The plugs look a little bit weird. But yeah, really unbelievable stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I hardly ever use ArtStation, but we're definitely going to keep an eye on this guy's work because it's unbelievable. These are all, stuff he's done. But we're getting to a point now where computer art and stuff is going to be so amazing, and so it I think it's fair to be critical in a way, and like I said, I will never hold back my opinion. I know Pantheon's a small studio, but I think they're doing great work. I think they're staying true to their ideals. So we hope that the game comes out, and we hope it's very community driven. Um, but I just hope they can kind of increase the graphical fidelity a little bit, make it a little bit better. Reese made a house. I love watching these.
Hey guys, it's Sam here. I'm back with another speed level design video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. But before we get into it, I just want to mention the newest one, World Stream. You guys there, enjoy.
I love watching these videos though. And if you want to get an idea of how this all works, you can watch these, and you can even slow it down if you want. But I mean, he's showing inside Unreal where he's grabbing his textures from. He's just using like a brush to basically paint the textures onto the terrain. He's using a different brush to change the elevation of the terrain, and placing some shrubs and some objects, placing some rocks, probably scaling and rotating, and And there, it's actually interesting. He just placed the object. I'd never seen people do this before, but instead of curving the object or moving the object down until it went beneath the surface, what he did was he actually pulled the surface and the ground up to cover the edges of the actual art asset, which I hadn't seen people do it that way, but that's cool. But I mean, you watch these videos, you'll learn so much on how to create levels. It's just by watching them. You can see how he's painting the grass and textures. And another great way, if you want to be a level designer, is really go out into nature and take photographs of what what mountains and forests look like, so that when you start creating your own, you can base it off of that. Those reference art, because reference art's always going to make your stuff look more realistic. Yeah. And here you have his final. He even put in a skybox with a with a day-night cycle. Not one of my his stuff's okay, but I still find what's his name's to be probably my favorite, which is Evil Mr. Frank. I don't know what it is. Just his stuff is just so good. I always have a hard time finding his channel for some reason. Evil Mr. And I typed in Evil Mr. Frank and it still didn't show up. So, yeah, I actually love this guy's stuff. He doesn't even have that many videos. Some of the ones he's done are just so good. Yeah, that's an older one. Not one of his better ones. This one's pretty cool. What I like about Evil's level designs is the ambient light, is how well he does like the particles, the fogs, like leaves flying through the air, lightning bugs, and then just the light placement. I mean, again, you see the particles kind of floating, and you see some mist and fog, and he's always got some water, and the wind's blowing the grass, and the leaves are moving. And it's just beautiful. The placement of his lighting and how he creates a mood with his levels is what I really like about his stuff. It's really, really well done. Yeah, I think there was another one. I know Asmongold was watching a video on, Elwyn Forest remade or something, but I wasn't that impressed with it. I got to be honest, I wasn't super impressed with this one, Elwyn Reborn. I don't know why. I just didn't find the... I mean, he tried to stay with a very stylistic approach, so I think he did a good job, with that. Not sure what he's doing with this weird sweeping. I don't know what these things even are. Yeah, so I'm not really super impressed with this. The mountains look very... Well, of course, if you're trying to recreate World of Warcraft's vanilla, what they look like, I mean, if you're trying to be true to that, then yeah. But they look very bland. The background seems very sparse to me. Like there needs to be more trees. It doesn't really look like woods or forest. Yeah, the lighting in the scene seems off to me, and it's too flat. The floor, the ground it just seems too flat. I would like to see more variation. Quality of the textures on top of the rocks is not much detail there. Bark on the trees also. It doesn't seem very crisp. But yeah, I'm not super impressed with this. The color palette also seems kind of flat. You don't see a lot of variety in the trees. I'd like to see more color variation in the trees. Now again, original World of Warcraft didn't really have that, but if you're going to do this so-called Elwyn Forest remade, why not bump it up? Add a little more color, add a little more clarity. We go to, let's see, got it. Where's the Cataclysm client? Oh, I threw it on the U drive, didn't I? I'm sorry, Cataclysm. I really liked the Cataclysm client. The Cataclysm client is the first time they really upgraded the WoW engine significantly. I remember in Cata, they actually added the new water engine in Cataclysm, which was really nice, I thought. I actually liked what they did with the water engine. Let's go ahead and close down. Here's the real interesting part is, do I remember my login? We'll see. Probably not. Oh my god, I do. Wow. Slow loading. Of course, I have a lot of stuff open right now. Is it ever going to load? Anyways, I'm just on my lunch break from work. It looks like for whatever reason this is not. Like it doesn't want to load. I don't know why. That's weird. Let me try something real quick. Let's use the actual Apollo 3 launcher. Should be the same file though. Yeah, but this was really unbelievable. I couldn't believe how good this was. Ooh, weird. Weird. Oh, okay, yeah. It just went to the wrong server. So yeah, one of the emails I always get is from Andrew Price, and if you guys don't know Andrew Price, he does a lot of stuff with Blender, and but I get these emails from him all the time, and it always is some really cool stuff. It's always like 3D stuff, and it's always very very impressive stuff. Like here's this 15-year-old artist who's going places. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of speaking with William Langan, an artist from Sweden who was able to learn Blender to a professional level in just 2 years. That's impressive. While balancing schoolwork, we explored how he's able to learn so fast, what he does differently, and how he made the Drink short film, and so much more. That's cool. We'll definitely take a look at that.
To the bones, but how do I say bones in Blender language? It might be selected underscore bones or like active underscore.
But this is Andrew Price, and his channel, the Blender Guru channel's been around forever, and he's one of those people that's old school, like been a part of Blender like way back when. Like I first started using Blender back in like, I don't know, 1.4 or something. It was like I actually bought the Blender book. Like there was a book they sold with Blender to try to teach you how to use Blender. I bought the book, because I wanted to learn Blender. But if you look at Blender Guru, the YouTube channel, if we go here, we go to videos and we sort by oldest first, right? He was just trying to learn, this is 12 years ago. He was trying to learn Blender. So here he is, doing an explosion, big explosion in Blender from 2010. Pretty cool, actually. Pretty cool. I wonder if it shows what versions he's. I love this. This is a good video. I've watched this with stuff Blender users say.
Or is that a bug? Is that cycles? Sweet, I didn't know we could do that. Click and crash. Check all layers, it's gone. I have no idea what I'm doing. Why are there suddenly no shadows? I'm thinking of making a sci-fi movie. I want to throw you out the window. Spacecrafts, explosions. It was working 5 minutes ago. How many wikis do they need? So my question is it a bug or is
he actually calls up Blender?
For as long as I can remember. Oh, so good. Oh. That is a bug, I think. Oh, I didn't save.
Yeah, but he's been around doing Blender stuff for a long time. Wonder if we can see I wonder what version he started using it.
Hello everyone, this is.
Okay, it should. Does it say? Let's see if we can spot it. Here we go. Blender.org, so 2.0. I wish I could see the version.
From blenderguru.com. Today we're going to be learning how to model and texture a car tire. This is the final result here.
Anyways, good channel. He's been around forever. If you get on his email distribution list, it's really worth it because there's always a lot of really cool stuff. Like I said, the most photorealistic CG face I've ever seen, and true, amazing. He's always got that kind of stuff, like groundbreaking stuff. Sketchfab. And then of course, this is 15-year-old artist who's learned Blender in 2 years to a professional level. So I'll probably watch this guy's interview. This kid, look at this kid, man, he's going places, right?
You can see and you probably see it at your school, like kids that are just like almost zombies.
Yeah, look how young this kid is.
Addicted to a phone. You can see that using these apps is changing their brains in perhaps negative ways, perhaps obviously negative ways. I don't know, but in your case, obviously, if your parents said no phone, you would have never gotten into that Lego stop motion, and you would have never discovered that.
So I'll definitely watch that video later. Yeah, I was just saying this is Cataclysm, and what I wanted to show you is just that, if they're gonna do like an Elwyn Forest reimagined, or if they're gonna like, do I even have I don't have a mount yet. I would like to have seen them do more with the color. You can see the palette here doesn't look too bad, but I'm pretty sure. No, I don't. Oh, I don't. I thought I actually had G-Shade installed, where we can go ahead and modify some of the clarity and some of the colors, with the client, which really wouldn't take much effort to do. We could set it up pretty quickly, but we're not going to do that right now. But one of the things that really sets apart like retail World of Warcraft from classic or even like Cataclysm is really the detail, the attention to the ambient, the ambient lighting and kind of the feel and the mood of the different levels. And every level has its own color palette. When you look at this, it's I don't think it really quite has that as much. We have a color palette, but it's more just snow and stuff. It's pretty plain, nothing too exciting. Whereas if you go into like Shadowlands or something and you look at one of the things that WoW still does well, one of the only things they do well, is the art and the style of some of the levels is still really, really fantastic, actually. But anyways, I'm gonna head back to work. I gotta work. I just want to take a quick break, play around with some of the, show you guys some of the really good resources on the webs, some of the speed level designs, and one of the reasons why when I see game companies come out and say, "Hey, look what we did," I hold a game development studio, even a small indie one, that claims to have people on their staff that have 10, 15 years experience in the industry. I hold them to a much higher level. And I see people that are doing something in 6 months that looks better than what they're doing. I kind of am critical of that. I'm like, well, what are you guys doing? Why can this guy knock something out in 6 months that looks a hell of a lot better than what you're doing? And you've been working on this game since supposedly 2014. We did the reboot, right? The reboot in 2017. So you've been working for 5 years, and you don't really have a whole lot to show. It's a little disconcerting, but we just have to wait and see. You can see this game's really alive. There's like nobody in here. What's up, babe? Oh, the chili? It's spicy?
Give it a little kick.
Give it a little kick? I look forward to the chili later. I'm just on my lunch break, but I'm getting off in a couple minutes. What do you do? Yeah, I'll be right there. Yeah, I'll be right there. Let me shut this down. Join this guild. All guild perks decline. Anyways, guys, I have to get back to work. My wife's going to show me some chili she's making, and then my boss wants to do a conference call. Then I've got to write a bunch of code. Typical day at my house. I hope you guys have it going. Hope everybody has a great, Tuesday? But yeah, when I retire from writing code, I would like to focus a lot of my time on creating either my own fantasy novel or my own fantasy MMO. Very small, obviously a prototype would only be like a small prototype because like obviously I'm only one person. But when we see people like like Tobias in just 6 months, or 8 months making a full level, and what I'm talking about is not making an entire game. I'm talking about just making like a little village with some systems in it. That's all I'm talking about, for like just a prototype to see, to learn how to do all the pieces and make them interact and stuff like that. So obviously I'm not going to sit here and create World of Warcraft by myself or whatever. That's just too much for one person to do. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Peace out.